Welcome to a new video and a whole new year. This is my first video of 2024 and in it we're going to be reflecting and reviewing over what 2023 was like for me as a small business, and I'm also going to be sharing my 2024 goals. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're completely new here, my name's Millie and I run a calligraphy business called Blink Lettering. I've been sharing these review and goal videos for the past couple of years, totally inspired by Emily Harvey Art, and somehow we're through another year and it's time to do another one. I'm also hoping this marks more videos on YouTube this year, but we'll find out. Well, let's see what those goals are. So before we jump into my 2024 goals for this year, I just wanted to review and reflect on 2023. So I'm going to watch my 2023 goals video with you. And we're going to have a little chat about how it went, because it was a very challenging year. A lot of things changed, and I don't know if at the beginning of the year I had the intention to change my business up. I can't quite remember. But also a lot of things happened personally. Something that did happen that's quite big I wanted to talk to you about later in the video as well, as that may affect some of my content coming up over the next year, few years, forever. Before we go through the goals, I was just looking at the video and I can see that for the past couple of years I've done social media stats, and I'm not going to do that this year because quite honestly they've either stayed exactly the same or they've dropped. And obviously success is measured very differently now on social platforms. It's not necessarily about the amount of followers you have. For me, I've had a huge drop in engagement over the past few years. It's just got worse and worse. And that is something that I want to focus on a little bit more this year to improve. I don't necessarily want to get more followers. I just want the people who are following me to engage a little bit more. So we're going to skip over the social media stats for this year. And to be honest, I think I might carry on doing that for future. I used to have a social media stats tracker on my Notion and I just never filled it in, to be honest. So we're going to skip over that. But let's start off by watching my 2023 goals videos. So grab yourself a drink. In my case, I got some water. And let's dive right in. Before I dive into sharing my 2023 goals with you, I just want to say that I think there's going to be quite a big shift in my business this year. I've already touched on that little bit about when... So I was obviously already thinking about the shift in my business at the beginning of last year. Yes, last year. But I don't think I really knew how that was going to work or how that was going to pan out, and I didn't really know how to execute that either. So I did actually work with a business coach, the lovely Alice Benham, in about April time, and that really gave me a lot of direction. So let's see how that shift and changed has affected the goals that I've set in this video, because maybe I actually did set some goals that links into that, but we'll see. I literally can't remember. So the first business goal for me this year is build up YouTube so it can bring me a consistent income. YouTube is an area... Okay, that really didn't happen. I think I must have posted like 4 videos last year. Let me just have a little look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I did do 8 videos, so that's a lot more than I thought. I had this idea in my head to post once a week, but life just got kind of chaotic, really busy. A lot of other work was coming in, and the thing with YouTube at the moment is I don't really earn any money from it. I earn like maybe 90 quid AdSense every like 3 months. It kind of was like, oh, I'm going to move away from studio vlogs. I feel that's not right. But I really miss those. So I did start to do a few more vlogs at the end of the year. And there's a couple of vlogs that I'm actually filming right now. One will be coming out soon. And one is like a really long-term vlog for a very big project. So I can't wait to share that with you more in the future. But yeah, I did not achieve this goal whatsoever. But that's because other things just had to take priority, and I was very aware of this for the whole year, and I did get myself a little bit down that I didn't achieve this. But we'll see what 2024 has in offer. Has in offer? Has to hold? Has to offer. I'm going to skip over like the blurby bit of me talking, so we're just going to look at each goal, by the way. Also, I've just noticed that fleece that I'm wearing in the video, I was totally going to wear this morning, but I decided to wear this pink jumper instead. So glad I didn't wear that, so you didn't think that I just only had one outfit.
My second goal is to create at least one new course. I already have a course in mind.
I did this. I launched a course last year called Watercolour Lettering 101. I launched it back in August and I'm so happy with it. It's a much lower cost compared to the other courses I've created in the past. And as part of that launch, I also did like a big marketing campaign for it, and it was so much fun to do. If you're interested in learning watercolour lettering, I'll leave a link in the description below for you. You can watch it in your own time, and you also get access to it basically for life, including any new content. And I am planning to add a little bit of new content to that course this year as well. But yeah, I achieved a goal. I did have to do a few changes in my business to achieve this goal. And as I said, I worked with a business coach last year, and she really helped with clarity on what I need to do to make that happen. So one of the things that I changed was my Better Brush Letters courses. I normally run twice a year, but this time I only did once a year. And I think going forward, I'm going to do that because it gives me the opportunity to basically create other content.
Number 3 is build a resource area on my website that has lots of digital downloads. So that is going to be a mixture of free content and paid content. I just want to have...
Okay, so I have actually done this. However, it's not live. I felt I got really into creating it, but I got into a bit of a roadblock with it, partly because I didn't have images for it to make it look nice. I did do a brand shoot back in, I think it was like September, October with the lovely Folio Creative. So I do have loads of images now, but the end of 2023 was just wild. It was really busy, so I didn't get a chance to kind of complete the resources page. But it's coming. That is definitely something that's going to be coming. And as I said, it's going to have free digital downloads and also low price digital downloads. And I'm so excited about that. But yeah, I half achieved it last year, but you just don't know about it.
Number 4 is do more in-person events. So I definitely want to do more workshops. I've got some kind of lined up already. Dates to be shared soon, but I'd also love to do more in-store calligraphy events, more window displays for small businesses. I just want to get out and about more. I don't necessarily want to be at home all the time. I want to do more hands-on experiences as well.
So I'd say I did achieve this goal, but it's very hard to measure this because I just said more events. So I don't really know if it was any more than the year before, but I did some pretty cool things. Now, firstly, workshops. I did have a couple of in-person workshops in the Bournemouth area. It's been a huge struggle to sell tickets for things like that this year. I don't know if it's just I've kind of exhausted the Bournemouth area. I've taught a lot of workshops here for the past few years, or whether it's just because cost of living is just affecting everyone. I am thinking that maybe I do need to expand my area of where I'm teaching workshops, because the issue teaching where I live is I'm on the south coast. So the radius around where I live, half of it is sea. So it kind of loses a lot of people who could travel to me. So I'm thinking of expanding out my workshops, maybe going to places like Southampton, Dorchester, and also go up to Newbury Way. That's where I'm from, and I have taught workshops there in the past. I also go to Brighton a lot for the in-laws, so whether I can tie that in. So yeah, I'm thinking of expanding out. If you're in the UK and you're looking to learn calligraphy, let me know where you live so I can see where would be good for this. I did do some really cool, fun projects this year, which I'm so proud of. Firstly, working at Bobby's doing in-person engraving. It was so much fun. It was such a pleasure. A lot of that happened at the end of last year. I wish I'd done more in-store events, but either the opportunities weren't there, like I personally wasn't chasing them, or the time wasn't right. I couldn't do specific dates. I also went back to London to do massive chalkboard for the Marriott on Park Lane, who I've done some work for before. It is a mammoth project. It's overnight work. It's like a lot, but I love it. It's so satisfying seeing such a big sign like that once you've finished. And I've also had the pleasure of working with some really lovely stationery brands. So I went to the pen show with Colt Pens and was basically there demonstrating pens all day and chatting to people who love pens. It's just like a dream. I also taught some amazing workshops for Stetler UK as well. That was so much fun. So things like that I'd really love to do more of. I also went to London Stationery Show though, so that wasn't for work. That was more, well, it was kind of for business, but I wasn't paid. It was more like a business trip. I'd like to do more of those too, but I'd say I achieved this goal, but because it's not measurable, it's hard to say. Yeah, I got out and about and I really enjoyed myself.
The final thing is a little bit more broad, but it's basically having a really clear work schedule. I've put in brackets, no more evening or weekend work. I know that that's not going to always be reality because there might be certain events.
That 100% wasn't reality at all. I really struggled to have those boundaries, partly because I spent so long working full time and running my business at the same time that I'm so used to working in the evenings and the weekend, and I get this anxiety that if I'm not doing something productive, then I don't know, it's just really difficult. I had a really difficult time with this in 2022 since I quit my job and went full-time self-employed, and the whole of last year was a huge struggle as well. It's not necessarily that I'm working all hours of the day and into the evening, but sometimes I'm just not getting stuff done in the daytime which I should be getting done, and then I'm kind of panicking and rushing and doing it in the evenings or over weekends. Another thing that I wasn't very good at setting boundaries with was there were occasions where I had to work, like a Saturday for an event, and I didn't give myself that day off in the week, which I wanted to do, but I just wasn't very good at that. I think part of my issue is I'm not really tracking my time. I don't really know how much I actually work. Boundaries are not there. There were many, many evenings of sitting on the sofa with my laptop being like, oh, I'm hanging out with my husband because I'm sat next to him watching TV, but I'm also working my laptop, and it's not healthy. And quite honestly, towards the end of 2023 and the beginning of this year, I am burnt out. I can't do it anymore, and it's just been a lot. There's been, I guess this brings me on to something else that I wanted to talk about, which I've been nervous, apprehensive about. It's a very big personal kind of safari for me, and it's been a challenge. Okay, I'm going to stop being vague now. In November 2023, I got diagnosed with ADHD. I have mixed type ADHD, so that's inattentive and hyperactive. Hyperactivity kind of shows physically, but also in my mind. And this kind of ties into talking about boundaries with work. I find it really hard to switch off, really hard. But along with that, I also really struggle with things like time management and time blindness. I've also had really important projects that I just physically can't start. And I'm not sat there sometimes I am sat there on my phone scrolling because I've gone into a scroll hole. But I will literally do everything else but the thing I need to do. I'll be doing clothes washing, tidying the house. I'll even be doing other work that's not as important. And it's so hard to describe unless you experience it too, but it's like there is an actual physical force that is preventing me. So I've been having a lot of difficulties with this for quite a while, and I looked into this in December 2022. So when I filmed this 2023 video, I already had an inkling, although I didn't have a very good experience with the doctor the first time. After going back to the doctors and filling in lots of forms and having an assessment, I have ADHD. Unfortunately, there's not a cure. For those of you who don't know, it's a disability. It's not mental health. You don't get better. And also there's a massive ADHD med shortage, so that's not something I can really look into at the moment. But I have learned so much just from research in the past year and starting to accept that that's just how I am. Like, this is how I work. And really just embracing that rather than getting frustrated or upset has really helped. But I have an unhealthy work-life balance, and that's something that I really need to look into. I appreciate that there's lots of attention in the media at the moment with ADHD. If you do have any questions about it, you're more than welcome to leave a comment below, or if you'd like to reach out to me, or if you'd rather reach out to me privately, you can message me on Instagram. I'm going to be sharing little bits of this through all of my content just going forwards. It's not going to be a huge focus of my business, but it definitely affects my business, and I think I've been suffering behind the scenes silently for a really long time. I think people will be surprised because essentially I'm a high achieving ADHD person. I do a lot of stuff, but that's because I have this constant feeling that I'm never doing enough. And I also really thrive on deadlines. So if I've got a deadline, I will get it done, but it will probably involve staying up late and crying a lot and completely burning myself out, which is no longer healthy. Okay, so with that in mind, that huge kind of life-changing information for me, I have taken it quite slow at the beginning of this year, really eased myself into setting goals and getting ready. I did not feel refreshed at the beginning of the year. I didn't even celebrate New Year's Eve. I had a huge deadline for January the 8th, which is yesterday, and that was causing a lot of stress. It's a project that's been going on for the past 6 months, so it didn't feel like a fresh start for me. I also have a big event happening at the beginning of February. If you're in the UK, it's the Calligraphy Collective. It's going to be so wonderful and exciting. And actually, I'll talk about that a little bit because that was another goal of mine for 2023, but it was like a secret goal because I was terrified. I didn't know how to get started. I didn't know what to do. But I've been working with my amazing friend Sophie, who is an experienced events manager, and on the 3rd of February we're hosting over 65 people at a beautiful venue in Bournemouth for a full day of calligraphy. There's 3 different workshops, panel discussions, pen demonstrations. I'm so excited. It has been hard though, and I think that's partly why a lot of my goals weren't achieved last year, because I had this calligraphy event that I've been working on, which was all totally new, and also working with a friend was new as well. And then also the other big project, which I will be sharing more soon, I promise. It's been a challenging start to the year. I don't think I fully processed about having ADHD yet. I've been doing a lot of research for over a year now, but actually getting it on paper, but then also finding out that there's not too much that can be done right now. It's been challenging, and that alongside personal things, it's been tough. So we've been taking it easy. But I have sat down, I went to a coffee shop yesterday and had a think of what I want to do for my business this year. Now last year I set goals and intentions. I don't really know, I think I saw someone else do it and I was like, oh, that seems like a good idea, but I don't really know if that helped. And I think the main thing that I learned from my previous goals is that they weren't measurable. So obviously I said like I want to do more in-person events. Well, what does more mean? So I really tried to make these measurable. I'm sorry, I'm just looking over here because I've got them on my Notion. I have been using Notion for a couple of years, by the way, but it's taken me a while to kind of figure out how it works for me and what works best. And I finally figured it out, and I'm hopefully going to use it a little bit more this year. But what I've done is created a whole goals page. So I'm going to be sharing my goals overall for 2024. I have split these down into quarters, but I won't be going too much into that. For now, I just want to talk to you about the goals, and let's have a chat about them. So I'm only going to be talking about business goals. I have set some personal goals this year, but we're just going to be focusing on business goals in this video. What I have done this year is split it into kind of 3 different areas of the business. So one of them is productivity. So this is kind of like the running and the behind the scenes and the admin of the business to kind of make it work a bit better. The second one I've called project. So this is kind of like the work that brings the money in. So it's like the actual business. And then I've done some financial goals as well. If you follow me over on Instagram, you'll see that I've been sharing my monthly revenue in my business, and I'd love to chat more about money in my business. So if that's something you'd like to see more of, then let me know in the comments below. Okay, so let's start with productivity. And the first goal is very similar to a goal last year, but I've made it measurable. And that is work no more than 40 hours per week. So when I worked full time in my job, that was like a 37.5 hour job. Obviously, sometimes you have like some days where you stay a little bit late and things like that. I just thought 40 was a bit more of a round number. I felt like having this hourly figure set means that if there is a day where my ADHD is like, girl, you're hyper-focused, you're going to get all of this done, and I end up working 10, 12 hours that day, that's totally fine, but the next day I may only work 4 hours. So I've been really trying to think how these goals can work for me and my brain. Also, because I don't necessarily have a set schedule when I'm working on Blink, I tend to just like either procrastinate or just spend too long on something. Like I spend ages writing emails. Like it's just something that I really struggle with, and I spend too much time on it. So I think I need to start actually doing like a proper schedule. So I have half an hour for emails, an hour to shoot a YouTube video, because if I have those deadlines, I do work to them. Like I don't generally finish work late. Like for example, the big project I worked on for 6 months, I didn't really do anything on it until the last month. I knew that was going to happen. They originally wanted to give me a year, but I knew regardless of how long they gave me, I'd leave it to the last minute. So yeah, work no more than 40 hours per week, and hopefully that will give me a better kind of work-life balance. I am so lucky that I love my work and it is my life in a way. Doing things like shooting videos or going to an event and talking about pens all day doesn't feel like work. But I need to stop feeling burnt out, constantly on edge and constantly overwhelmed, because I can't cope with this anymore. So yeah, that was goal 1, work no more than 40 hours per week. I want to try and actually start tracking that time. I'm not sure the best way of doing that. So if you do track your time for your business, please let me know in the comments below how you do that, because I want it to be minimal effort. I don't want it to be something I have to remember to do all the time. I do already track my work when I do like freelance graphic design projects, because some of those projects I charge hourly or I've charged a flat rate. So I therefore want to make sure that I've charged enough. But in Blink, it's just all over the place. So my second goal that's in the productivity section is a monthly small business day. So this is something that I know Sam from the Creative Small Business Club does. Basically, I want one day a month where I sit and kind of work on the business. So that might be things like seeing how I'm doing with my goals, kind of setting plans and intentions for the month ahead. It also could be kind of analysing things like my money, where I'm spending too much money, where I'm not spending enough. Almost doing like a one-to-one on myself and see how I'm doing. I know Alice Thorpe has done weekly one-to-ones with herself when she does like a little kind of review, so it's like a meeting with her. So that's something that I have been considering. I think weekly is too much, especially because I also work as a freelance graphic designer, so getting that balance is quite hard. So I think if I just do this monthly at the beginning of the month, I can reflect on the past month and plan for the months in advance. So it's not going to be a money-making day, but hopefully it'll help streamline my business a little bit better. And then the third productivity goal is monthly learning mornings. Now, this actually might tie into the small business day. So I've got the morning of learning and then reflecting on my business. I realised that for me, I like working on small projects all throughout the day. I like changing things up. Having one thing I do all day, I will probably end up procrastinating and not doing it until right at the end of the day. So this will probably tie into that monthly small business day. And I basically want to start using something like Skillshare. I used to use it all the time. I need to re-sign back up to it and just start learning more. So this could be something to do with small business, something to do with like social media, calligraphy. It could even be to do with like my freelance graphic design side of everything. I just want to kind of take in more information. I feel like I've been giving a lot over the past few years and I haven't been replenishing any of that giving. I love sharing my knowledge, but I also love learning. So yeah, a monthly learning morning. I would love that to be every other week or every week, but I'm just trying to be realistic of what's possible for me right now. So we're going to start with monthly. If it ends up being every week by the end of the year, that would be amazing. Okay, so moving on to projects. Goal number 1 for projects is to launch 5 new digital products. Last year, I said that I wanted to launch 1 online course. This year, I want to introduce a range of different digital products, so price range and also what they offer. This will tie in with that resources page that I mentioned. So things like ebooks, workbooks that give you like 100 words to kind of copy and give you inspiration, and also share knowledge on things like content creation, how I film my Instagram videos. So it kind of will start tying in with YouTube content and my blog and just start to kind of streamline that all together. I don't 100% know what those products will be yet, but as long as there's 5, I'll be happy. Okay, talking of YouTube, I'm going to introduce this kind of do more on YouTube again like I did last year, but actually be actionable. So I'd like to start posting 4 videos per month on YouTube. So that's 1 per week basically. I have quite a lot of ideas. It's just getting around to executing them. But this is the start. This is number 1. We are a little bit late in January, so whether I do 4 this month, I don't know. That's totally fine though. I also have quite an exciting video lined up with a brand, which I really can't wait to share with you. And if I can start getting more videos like that, where I can share my knowledge with you and share products I love with you, but also kind of get that support, pay the bills, then that would be amazing. So yeah, 4 videos per month on YouTube. And then this also ties nicely in to what I was just saying about the brand work. I'd also like to get 4 new content creation clients this year. So particularly towards the end of 2023, I basically positioned myself as a stationary content creator. I worked with so many lovely brands. Some of it is UGC, so that's user generated content. So I'm creating videos for the brand to go share on their own social media. And then some of it has been sponsored content. I've done work for Winsor & Newton, Stettler UK, Pentel UK, Tombow UK. Oh gosh, I'm going to miss someone really important, aren't I? Sylvine, I did a lovely post for them for their Christmas content. I also am, of course, ambassadors for Kyosa, Tom Studio and Ferris Wheel Press, so I do create a lot of content for them as well, and it's such a joy. I love it so much. There's just something so satisfying about creating video content. I was a lover of video content way before Reels were even a thing on Instagram. Back in the day when Instagram was chronological, I used to share a video and then you swipe along to the final photo. And I just really enjoy it. My skills for filming and editing have definitely massively developed over the past couple of years. And a huge achievement was the Winsor & Newton video I did for them on World Calligraphy Day, which was a headache. Basically, I wrote Winsor & Newton, but using 5 of their different Procreates, but the editing chopped between them. So that was hard to do, but I loved it. I love just getting creative with it, and it's something that I'd like to do more of. Even maybe stepping out of the world of stationery and do some content for other brands. When I set this goal, I did actually just write 2 new clients. However, I technically already have 2 new clients, although I've been speaking to them for the past month or so obviously started in 2023. I haven't actually created any of the content for them yet. So I'm going to count them as 2 new clients. So I've kind of almost achieved a goal, and we're on the 9th of January. It's something I love to do. Hopefully I can start bringing that more onto YouTube as well once I develop this channel a little bit further. I would like to say that I only work with brands that I know and love. I have been reached out by a ton of different brands, all for really different random things. There was one that was like a tea for pregnant people, which I don't know why they reached out to me. Even stationery brands that I've never heard of, or they're kind of potentially selling cheap knockoffs of brands that I love. I'm very careful with the ones I choose, so don't feel like I'm going out and kind of selling out and just picking up anything. For a long time, I've created content for free and shared information for free, and unfortunately it doesn't pay the bills, and I've got to kind of pay the bills somehow, and this means that I can still create that content for you. It's still free for you. Okay, so we've spoken about productivity and projects. Let's chat about money. I know the money chat isn't for everyone. If this is something you feel a bit uncomfortable about listening to, then I won't be offended if you don't want to watch. But it's something that I feel we need to talk about more. We need to break down this taboo. We need to share this information more so people don't feel so alone. And it's so often that there's all these people who are like, I made 10k a month, or how to easily make 6 figures in your business in 4 days. And it's just ridiculous and not realistic. And most of those people are basically making money selling the courses to tell you how to make money. But it's just so vague. So I want to be more and more transparent in my business this year. I'm going to continue sharing my monthly revenue over on Instagram. I'd also like to create a couple of money videos over here, so a bit more in depth. So if there's anything that you would like to learn more about, I do already have a video on the profit first method, but I'd like to chat more about things like revenue stream, how I do my accounting, all of that. But I also have a couple of goals that I kind of really need to stick to this year to help me with that. Although I want to speak about money, I'm not saying that I'm great at it. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm still on a journey myself. So the first financial goal is monthly bookkeeping. Every year I have set this goal, and every year I fail. Basically, I don't keep on top of my accounts. I do use QuickBooks, so that helps me kind of keep track of everything in a way, but I'm not necessarily scanning in receipts. I'm not double checking things every month. So it gets to the time to do my tax return and I sit down and I spend all day doing it, maybe a couple of days, and it's been a lot. But a few things have changed for me in the past year. I've got a lovely new accountant, which I'm so happy with. They processed my tax return for the first time this year, and that was so nice not to have to do it myself. Even though I do like numbers, it just felt good to have that support because I have so many different revenue streams. Some of it also comes from America. So kind of figuring out all of that has just been a lot. And although I like doing it, I realised that it's not necessarily worth my time. It's better for me to pay someone those hours, and then I can spend those hours like earning money basically. But although they do submit my tax return for me and they can support me with any accounting queries, I still need to keep the QuickBooks up to date and make sure that the bookkeeping is all correct. Again, this might tie into that small business day. So having a bit of learning time, then doing my accounts, and then kind of assessing the business for the year. So it's kind of whole kind of on my business day. So that's how I'm imagining at the moment, because then it means that I can do it at the beginning of the month, talk about the past month, and also kind of just assess, like, am I spending too much in particular areas? Do I need to stop any direct debits? All of that jazz. The second thing is actually pay myself a monthly amount. So for me, I have worked out that I want to pay myself £1,800 a month. This means that all my bills are covered and I have money to put away into savings and kind of have a little bit of fun with as well. This money will be not just coming from Blink, it will also be coming from my freelance graphic design. So full transparency, I earn a lot more money in my freelance graphic design stuff at the moment. So that's where a lot of this is coming in. Now, also just to note, it says paying myself £1,800 per month, but I actually need to earn like double that each month to be able to pay that to myself. Once you take out like 25% for tax and student loan, I also put 15% away for pension and then 5% into like a profit pot in the business. That's like 50% left. So I feel like setting this goal and having an intentional figure will also encourage me to really be more savvy with how I'm bringing money in. If I'm getting to like the 20th of the month and I haven't brought enough in to pay me that, then I can start thinking of, okay, what can I do to change this? So I'm just trying to shift that mindset a little bit for it. I have been fortunate in the past year. Well, actually, since I've been self-employed, apart from that first month, which was really difficult, fully self-employed that is, I have been paying myself regular money every month. I'm really proud of how much I have been earning, both in Blink and my freelance graphic design. However, I just kind of, once I've taken out the tax and the profit and pension and any like expenses and stuff, I just kind of give the rest to myself. So it means that the business doesn't have as much money internally. And it meant that some months I was paying myself like loads. Like I had a couple of months that were just wild, and then other months I wasn't paying myself anything. So managing my money personally was really difficult. Whereas if I pay myself a set amount each month, if I have a really good month, there'll be money left in that business account for me for the months that I have a really bad month. So rather than this kind of up and down of how much I'm paying myself, it's just a set amount each month. So yeah, there's a couple of reasons why I want to do this goal. I'm aware that 1,800 per month could be loads for some people. For other people, it might not be enough. I've based this on my living situation and also kind of how much I was earning before I was fully self-employed as well. I want to make sure that I'm matching when I worked as a graphic designer. Basically, that's what I need to be paying myself. Okay, so those are my goals for 2024. Let's see how I go. As I said, I have started putting these into different quarters and kind of planning out. I guess this is what the intentions were that I did last year, but I'm just trying to be a bit more practical with it. And hopefully it will be a good year. I'm hoping that personal stuff won't be as bad. And now I have my ADHD diagnosis. That's something that I can kind of get better understanding with and work with rather than against. I am nervous. I do still feel like it's not the freshest of starts for me. Along with the ADHD, my mental health has taken a huge dive, although I am quite good at masking it. If you've seen me go quite quiet on things like Instagram, then you'll know why. I'm hoping to just be a little bit more intentional and a bit easier on myself. I wanted to come up with some sort of inspirational word of the year like I have done in the past, and quite honestly, I can't think of anything at all. Like, my mind's just blank. So if you have a word of the year, or if you think that there's a word of the year that would really work for me, that I can kind of champion, I'd love to create a little calligraphy piece on it, then leave a comment in the description below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I just want to say a huge thank you for being here. I'm aware that I'm very sporadic with YouTube, but hopefully that'll be a little bit different this year, and I can't wait to see what the year ahead entails. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon for another video.